In 1983, Nissan launched the Micra, and since then they've sold over 6 million of them. Well, it's time for the 6th generation of Nissan Micra, and I think it's a really interesting car, and I'm here in Barcelona to show you guys. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to the brand new Nissan Micra. So I don't have very much time with the car. Let's take a walk around it. The first thing to say is this car has a huge amount in common with, for me, perhaps the best EV currently on sale today, and that is the Renault R5. They are both based on the same platform. They're both built in the same factory. And actually, from kind of here downwards, the chassis, the suspension, the motor, the batteries, it's all the same. The point of differentiation is the styling. And I find that bit quite interesting. If you think about Renault and the R5, they had a car that had pretty much looked the same throughout its whole lifespan. If you look at the previous 5 generations of Nissan Micra, they were all very different. And what the designers have tried to do with the 6th generation is pick little bits from each one and try and create something that's modern and distinctive. And the 2 words that were their kind of benchmark were funky and premium. And I use funky quite a lot in videos. So let's start off at the front end. The most distinctive feature, I think, is this kind of light cluster here. You've got the central light element in the middle, and then these 2 kind of eyebrows that run around the outside. And that is a nod to the 3rd generation of Nissan Micra, which was one of the most popular and successful for Nissan. And when the car starts up, I'll try and show you, it's got this really cool welcome sequence. The car almost winks at you. The front of the car, the wheelbase and the width is exactly the same as R5. The main difference is this car has a slightly bigger overhang front and rear, so it's slightly longer in the body, if not the same length in the wheelbase. But this front is very distinctive. And I think these lights, it's going to be very color specific. There are, I think, 6 different colors, and there's lots of different combinations because you can have the different colors. You can choose between having a monochrome roof, a black roof, or a silver roof. So if you look at all those combinations and permutations, there are quite a few. And I think that these lights, depending on the color, if you look at it on a white car or a lighter colored car, this central light bar sticks out a lot, and it kind of gives the car a more, it's like a frown, almost more aggressive. Whereas with the darker colors, this central bit kind of disappears into the background, and you see these eyebrows much, much more. To wander around the side, and there's some really nice things in here. So first things first, on the filler cap just here, where you've got the charge point, you've got this little monogram there, and that is apparently Nissan in Japanese. A little bit of Japanese there for you. Charging wise, so AC and DC charging. AC charging up to 11 kilowatts. The DC charging, it depends on the battery size. So there are 2 battery pack sizes. If you go for the smaller battery, it goes up to 80 kilowatt charging. The larger battery does up to 100 kilowatt charging. And at that, you'll be able to get a sort of 15 to 80% charge in around about half an hour. I want to talk briefly about wheels. So all of the different battery size and motor size, they're all on the same 17-inch wheel. But what's really cool is the lower spec car actually comes with steel wheels with a plastic cover. And then there are 2 alloy wheel options. So if you spec the base car, it's going to come on steel wheels with a plastic cover. The middle spec car, you can upgrade to the alloy if you want. The top spec car, it comes on alloys as standard. I think that's just a really great way of getting that base car at a really good price point. This plastic trim around the wheel arches and then down the side, it's a gloss plastic, and it's there to give a more premium feel than the kind of rough finished plastic you see on some cars, and I think it works really well. This detailing here certainly gives the car almost like a higher stance. It sort of feels like it's a bit jacked up, gives it a more aggressive feel. I really love this bit. So this line down here, it runs all the way down here. They call it the gelato scoop. And the story behind that is when there was a clay model, one of the designers literally took an ice cream scoop and kind of took it down the side of the car just to give it some contour. And they liked it so much, it stayed. On the outside, you've got the same kind of door openings. Now, in terms of Renault 5 crossover, there are some shared components. The glass is exactly the same as Renault 5, the roof, but everything really from here downwards, all of the body panels, the front end, the rear end is completely different on the Micra. Then if we come round the back of the car, I think the back of the car is really quite cool and funky. Again, you've got the round light design that we see at the front of the car. I really like that. And then this darker strip running along here, and it works really well in this particular spec with the black roof, privacy glass, then the body color and this black trim. It kind of breaks the rear up. And then at the bottom on this sort of diffuser kind of lower bumper in gloss black, it just breaks the car up really, really nicely. Boot space wise, it's exactly the same as R5. It does have the same Achilles heel as R5. It has this really big lip down here between the loading part here and the actual boot floor. But the interior space will be the same. Now, I love it when car manufacturers drop a few Easter eggs into the car, things for you to look out for. Now, there are two Japanese themed Easter eggs. I've been very lucky. I've been to Japan twice. And in Japan, in fact, in view of the Nissan Design Studio is Mount Fuji. And if you look really, really carefully in here, there's a Mount Fuji. Where could it possibly be? It's just there. So you've got this tiny little, you can see the Fuji there with, or Fuji-san. If you're in Japan, they always refer to Mount Fuji as Fuji-san. And then if we come on the inside, we'll have a look at the properly on the inside shortly. But on the inside, if we come all the way on the inside, just here, look, again, you've got Fuji-san just by your wireless charge mat. But then the final Easter egg isn't a Japanese Easter egg at all. It's a French one. It's a Renault one. You've got the Renault cock just there, the cockerel of Renault. And that's because this front windscreen is exactly the same as the one you find in the R5. So it's actually got R5 glass, and R5 has a cockerel just there as well. Absolutely love that. And I don't think there's anything to be hidden from sharing so much with R5. I think that makes this car really, really interesting prospect, because I can't drive this car yet. It's a very, very exclusive preview today. There's only like half a dozen people come to see the car, so we can't drive it. But for the first time on one of these studio shoots, I'm not that worried about it because I've already driven the R5 and it's the same platform underneath. I'm sure it will drive very similarly. There are some differences for sure, but on the whole, I know this is going to be a great car to drive. So I think the differentiator is its aesthetics. And you can kind of see some nice nods, little Nissan writing there, and some nice nods and so on to the historical past of the Micra on the outside. Okay, different car, same color. Let's have a look on the inside. I want to start in the rear of the car because for me, this is maybe one of the issues with this platform, and that is rear passenger space. Now, I purposely sat on this side first of all because the front seat is set reasonably forward for a normal person, but the driver's seat is set for me, and there's no way I'm going to move over here and be able to sit in there, and that's a bit of a challenge, I think, for this car. It's not got the most amount of space. Now, I was recently out in Portugal with the R4, and that's got just that little bit more space in here. But interestingly, last week I was with Hyundai and the Insta, and that's got loads more legroom in the back. So it's one of those things. I don't think that's going to be a massive issue for most people, but rear passenger space is something you need to be aware of. It's okay as long as the front seats aren't too far back. But let's jump in the front of the car and have a look around a dashboard that from here looks very familiar. It's even got the same bing bongs as R5. Now, the interior is very similar, but that's a really good thing because I am mildly obsessed with the R5 interior. Seat-wise, so it's exactly the same frame, the same shape of seat. However, the thing that differentiates the Micra from the R5 is in the R5, Renault lent on the heritage of the different interiors that they'd had in Renault 5s of the past. And what Nissan have done with Micra, which I really, really like, is they've kind of gone down there are 3 different interior colours, and they've gone down the Japanese heritage route. They've got one interior that's very much like a homely feel, but they've got these really nice choice of materials, really nice stitching. But yeah, I just think the premium feel in this particular interior is spot on. But let's have a chat about the dash and the layout for the driver, because for me the really nice thing is they've basically taken lots of things and just used them, and that helps with the price point of both cars. And it's really important to know that it's not that Nissan have copied the R5 in the Micra. It's been a joint development from the get-go. It just so happens that R5 came to market before the Micra did. But you've got this twin screen setup. There is a difference when you look at the fonts and the layout of those screens. They are very, very different. But this car has the Google built-in technology. So all of your mapping is done with Google Maps. And the really cool thing about that is that these cars come as standard with a heat pump and battery heating and cooling. And if you're using the Google navigation and you put in a destination that's too far for the current state of charge, it will direct you to the nearest fast charger. And then it will precondition the battery as you approach that fast charger to make your charging experience as rapid and as efficient as possible. I love things like that. We've got a whole bunch of different ADAS systems in this car, and just like Renault Group, we've got the My Perso button, which I still think, I know I rave about it whenever I go in a Renault, but down the bottom left-hand corner you can put all your ADAS systems on one personalised menu, and you can select which ones you want on and which ones you want inactive, and then basically when you get in the car, a double push of that button and you're ready to go. There's a Google voice assistant as well, so you just say, hey Google, and you can ask the car to do stuff. In fact, it's just listened to me. Hi, I don't want to talk to you right now. Oh no, what's it going to get me to do? There we go. And then the last couple of things, this central pad's the same. We've talked about the little Mount Fuji Easter egg in the middle, which I really like. You've also got the headliner as well, which is just such a nice touch. So all in all, the interior of this car is absolutely spot on. The last thing to mention, if you're an audiophile and like your music, is if you go for the top spec Micra, there's also a Harman Kardon stereo upgrade option, so you get really high quality sound system. But the interior, really, really nice. Now then, let's jump on the outside of the car and I'll give you my final thoughts. So, what do you guys think of the new Nissan Micra? Now, the important question I can hear you all asking is, how much is it going to be? And as I'm sat here today, they have announced no pricing information at all. I think gut feel says if it's in the same kind of ballpark as Renault 5, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But everyone here is keeping very tight-lipped on that one. And then in terms of actual delivery dates, we're looking at later on this year. And this is the first of 3 EVs that Nissan are bringing to market in the next 18 months or so. Back end of this year, we're going to get the new Nissan Leaf, and then in 2026, we get the new Nissan Juke. But in terms of Micra, I like it a lot. I think it gives some options for those that either aren't that keen on Renault as a brand or the Renault 5 styling, or want something just a little bit different, because Renault 5 selling so much, it would be nice to have just that contrast, that slightly different style. And I think Nissan have done a brilliant job with the Micra. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. But if you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.